Guess what? Eating foods rich in vitamin A works really well synergistically with vitamin D. So if you're not doing one of those things, you need to do both of them. Foods that are rich in vitamin A, and that's your hint to watch the webinar when it's live on YouTube, and also taking vitamin D, they'll work really well together, and that will be really effective for your skin health. Welcome to the weekly newsletter. So today we are going to start with connecting immunity and skin health, and that will be the focus of this week's newsletter, and also sharing with you hints and tips from clinic. It's all about mindfulness, menopause and medicine. I'm Dr. Dhesi here at Vysana. We are Vysana Life, and this is our weekly newsletter. Thanks for watching. So we had a great webinar, which will be live on YouTube very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We had a great webinar on immunity and flourishing in the winter. Basically, how to boost your immune health during the winter to stop those pesky sniffles, colds, flu, all those things that get you down and that you can't enjoy necessarily this time of year, especially Christmas. So what did I learn from it? Well, it was a great revision session from Tina Hancox, who's a naturopath and nutritionist. And we went over micronutrients, things like vitamin C, selenium, vitamin D, vitamin A, the connection between that. We went through the 8 pillars of winter health, or staying healthy during the winter with a mnemonic winter safe. But I won't go through all that and spoil the video for you. What I will do is just go through a bit of summary of what I learned. So firstly, water. It's a cliche. It's a cliche that every time that you go in or see perhaps me in clinic, I say, you mentioned you look a little bit dehydrated, skin's a bit dry, are you drinking enough water? And for most of us, we aren't drinking enough. And guess what? That has an impact on your immune system. So water is really important for hydration, obviously. And it's so important for the lymph system because the lymph system relies on flow and volume. So, how do those white blood cells that fight infection, like your T cells, how do the cytokines, the protein messengers, how do antibodies get round the body? Well, they flow. And the better hydrated you are, the more water you're taking on, the better the flow, the better those innate and adaptive immune system elements are able to get around the body and fight infection, the better you will be. And, we always do get unwell, but if it's being unwell for a couple of days, that's fine. But when it's lingering for a couple of weeks, we really need to fine-tune that health parameter. So what about skin health? What about the connection? So one of the things we covered was vitamin C. Now, again, it was a bit of a revision, but also a bit of a light bulb moment. Vitamin C is found in lots of different things. We always default to citrus fruits. However, red peppers, if you're shopping today, whilst hopefully not whilst you're watching this video, but if you are shopping, do pick up a red pepper. So much more higher concentrations of vitamin C compared to citrus fruits, and you can mix it into pasta or salads if that's what you like. But definitely using a more natural source of vitamin C is important. A little thing that I did learn, which I'd like to share with you, is that taking a high dose of vitamin C is not necessarily the best way to absorb. So vitamin C is water soluble. So actually we kind of get rid of it very quickly from the body when we do take it in. So taking that big soluble Barocca in the morning, which is like 1,000 milligrams of, I'm not quite sure actually what it is, but I'm postulating there, 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I don't think it was 1,000 milligrams, it's less. So don't quote me on that. However, so taking a big dose in the morning is not beneficial. Taking small doses throughout the day is much better for not only your immune system, but also for your skin. So vitamin C is a great precursor for collagen. We need it to make collagen. So we can chow down on as much collagen as we want, but if we're not taking enough vitamin C, we're not going to produce collagen effectively. It's one of the raw materials that we need for collagen. So for skin health, definitely vitamin C. Very, very quickly, because I know that I've got your attention, I want to keep it. So what about vitamin D? So vitamin D, it's the winter. Lights are here bright in clinic. I love it bright and light. However, outside, it's dark and dreary. So we're not getting enough sunlight. And the only way that we effectively make vitamin D is via exposure to sunlight. So in the winter, we do need to take a supplement. And it's really important not only for your immune health, but also your skin health as well. And guess what? Eating foods rich in vitamin A works really well synergistically with vitamin D. So if you're not doing one of those things, you need to do both of them. So foods that are rich in vitamin A, and that's your hint to watch the webinar when it's live on YouTube, and also taking vitamin D, they'll work really well together, and that will be really effective for your skin health. So what else did I learn? So I learned that, or I revised, I keep saying that, but every day's a school day. But also learned that the internal cells, especially the gastrointestinal tract cells, they renew every 2 to 3 days. Now, we used to talk about in clinic where your skin cells renew every 28 to 32 days. So that's why some of our treatments, you may find that for about a week or 2 weeks, the skin's dry, it's flaking. Well, that's part of the turnover process. As the top layers of skin cells are damaged through treatment process and the body's getting rid of them, new cells are migrating up, but they're a little bit slow, they take their time, and obviously we try and push that a little bit, and sometimes we push it a bit too far, which is why you get redness or downtime. However, that takes a little bit longer. But internally, 2 to 3 days, every 2 to 3 days, your body's renewing its cells. And how important is that? So, and where does your body get the raw materials for renewing? From your diet, which is why diet is so key for skin health. I wanted to just focus also on 2 elements of skin which we've come across in clinic more often because the summer's ending. It's in November. It's a good time to do exfoliation. It's a good time to kind of renew the skin before the winter period where things like rosacea can flare up. So pigmentation is one of the key concerns. And a lot of patients probably, maybe even sometimes in the late 30s, definitely mid-40s, late 40s, start to notice pigmentation that's very patchy. And what happens is, or the story behind it is that, I've been really careful in the summer. Actually, I did pick up a tan, it was kind of less obvious. But whenever I go out on holiday or whenever I go out in the sun, it just appears. And even though I'm really protective, even though I'm wearing SPF and a hat and all the paraphernalia, it still comes back. Well, that pigmentation is something called melasma. And melasma is a chronic, lifelong pigmentation, but we can manage it, but we have to manage it really carefully. So one of the lessons that we can share is that melasma actually gets worse with heat. And that's why when you go on holiday, melasma can get worse. So it doesn't matter if you've been protected from the sun, the heat itself can cause that. And which is why the treatments we need to choose for melasma need to be really careful. So IPL or heat-based treatments are probably not the best thing for melasma because it will get rid of it, but it will return. What we do need to do is calm down the melanocytes that give rise to that sort of pigmentation. So some of the treatments that I would recommend are peels, from superficial peels to medium depth peels. And we have things like Perfect Peel or the Skin Tech Easy Peel, which really can help control melasma. It will always potentially return, but when it does return, we want it to return not as florid as it was. Skin dryness is really creeping in, and I think one of the tips that I have to give you, apart from water and hydration, which I mentioned earlier, is also emollient. So you might need to increase the richness or the barrier function of your moisturizer. So we were using a light moisturizer before, you probably need to think about using a thicker one and probably using a nighttime moisturizer as well. And obviously we're always available for I'm always available for virtual skincare consultations or in clinic as well, or if you drop us an email, or if you're with Get Harley, one of our Get Harley patients, then obviously you can drop them a message and they will get in touch with me as well. So I hope you found that useful. Lastly, I thought I'd try and entertain you with a winter immunity story. So one of the things that patients always mention is that a partner or hubby has been away. I'll tell you a little story. One of our patients mentioned that the partner, husband, had actually gone to Far East, apparently Bali, for a personal development or training course. It was business. But as soon as he got back, he was unwell, he's tired, lethargic. And again, that's down to immunity. So, normally fit and well, exercises, eats well, apparently. But the issue is that we are prone to infection, especially when we're stressed. So when you're stressed, you have a rise in cortisol, and that chronic rise in cortisol, especially if you're traveling and you're on business, that can lead to inflammation, and inflammation then makes you more predisposed to infection. So whether you're traveling, whether you're out and about, there are a few key things to remember. You can still wear a mask. No one's going to judge you for that. It is a way of spreading the contact and infection. And the other way is hand hygiene. You do have that little bottle of alcohol gel, and also washing your hands really does help to stop the spread of infections as well. So anyway, that's all for this week for our newsletter, keeping it nice and short and sweet to grab your attention and share information with you. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do give us a like, give us a comment, always welcoming constructive feedback. I'm Dr. Sunny Dhesi, this is Vysana Life, and it's our weekly newsletter. Thanks for joining and watching.